Hey everybody, Steve here from Pinball Room. All right, today we're going to move on to another part. We're going to do wireforms. Yes, that's what we're talking about today. Cue the intro. You know I don't have an intro. All right, no, so we got to tear some things apart because unfortunately, as much as I built my own rotisserie and it works great, this whole crazy idea I had of things coming out behind the back box panel here and going behind, it's cool, right? It's fun. I love it. Great idea, Steve. Well, then it makes it to where I can't rotate my playfield because I've got the support arm here. So every time I need to work on the playfield, I got to take all this stuff back off. So hold on. All right, so wireforms. Where are we doing a big wireform? Well, we're going to do a return. Remember, this one comes up. We've got our diverter, and then the ball is going to come down behind over here. Right now, I've just got it to this cardboard from back when we were doing prototyping. No more. All right. Okay, so we need to get some wireforms that are going to come and bring it down and do exactly what the cardboard was. All right, so what have I got? I've got some wire. It's not the final metal we're going to use, but I probably should have just gone to my local metal supplier and gotten it cheaper, but I was lazy, I was home, so I went on Amazon and I found some 3mm stainless steel rods. Why stainless steel? Because that's all I could really find. Final stuff we're going to go through and do. We're going to get just some simple. A buddy of mine, I was talking with a buddy out here, Ryan Rasmussen, who's at our league. We were chatting. He's like, Steve, just get like some mild steel, some basic cheap steel from the metal shop here. Bend it, get it how you want it. Once it's all finally done, assembled, and welded. Not soldered. I can solder. Don't know how to weld yet. That'll be something else we'll learn. But anyway, go through, get all your metal set up, get it welded, get it shaped, and then we'll just go and get it chrome plated. All right, so I've been looking up on how to do that. That'll be a later video. Anyway, so for today, we're just working with some 3mm steel rods. I got different lengths. I got some 300mm and some 500mm, so about 12 to 19-inch lengths that we're gonna play with. We're gonna bend, and let's see what we can do. All right, so very first thing is, well, I don't know. You could go different directions. The way I'm going to approach it is starting from up here where I know the ball is going to come. I've already got kind of a side here, so I'm not too worried about the ball having another support on this side because the ramp's right here and its wall is going to be there. But for sure you always need at least two. You always need at least two tracks for the ball to roll down along, right? Like on Mandalorian, right? On the premium, you'll see just the two tracks coming across the playfield. Looks nice and slick. But anytime you've got a curve or anything else coming on, more than a very gentle curve, and the ball could have some real momentum, you're going to want to have another one higher up on the side to help hold the ball in place, right? So, how are we going to do that? Well, this is why I love having a 3D printer. So, I came up with a bunch of little brackets here. And I should change the camera so you can see them down below. Oh well, I'm going to hold them up. So, I came up with these different little brackets, okay? And these are going to go through and hold the rails. Here's an example of one, okay, and how it's working. All right, so, and this even has on this side like a little place we could have like a post come up with a screw and go into it and hold it in place, okay? So then the ball can come down. It's the best way for you to see that. The ball can come down that track. Here you go, and it's got a side to support it. Anyway, so that's going to be the three sides. Thinking that can go and come in right about there. Okay, we have a post there in the corner that can hold the ball. It comes down along this rail. Then you're like, great, those rods aren't very long, Steve, so what else are you going to do? But basically then you'll have another one that comes down later on, and you can go through, and these just snap into place. So they are snug, so I do it on the bench. So if I come through and I snap these into place, and then you can connect. This is a wide enough bracket that you can go through and you can just kind of connect multiple in there. And so I've got it. This is a wide enough one now. You always want to kind of keep things like, I don't know, I want to try to keep these like as thin and kind of low profile as I can, but when you got to go through and connect them, I'm right about 12mm is how wide this is to be able to have enough on each side to kind of hold it in place snugly. And that, I almost wonder if I need to go like 14 or 15, but we're going to try this right now. Okay, so you get a few of those in place. Next thing you know, you've got a pretty long wireform. Okay, that can be coming all the way down. Okay, a couple steel rods, a couple 3D printed brackets, All the files are up on my public folder up on Google Drive, so you can download these files and print them out as well. I've got all the STLs. And I've got a number of different shapes. So I've got it for, this one is kind of like this, half circle, quarter circle. So it does, 3 rods. I've got some that will do, the full half circle for 4, in case you want to go all the way around. We've got thinner ones. They don't have the brackets. So these are only about 6 millimeters wide. Anyway, and then all the way down, some of these are only 3, and then even some that are just 2. And you can take them and create your own off of that, but it should be a good starting place for you. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna try to get some rods going here. So I had one of these 20-inchers. The straight part's easy, right? Is when you gotta start bending stuff and getting curves and all that is where it gets really interesting. We need right around, come on, hold that in place. Because we want the ball to drop right here in this in lane, which is right at about 31 inches from back here. We're gonna go 32 right now. And it needs to be in here, so I'm gonna need to have a bend. And I don't want like a right angle bend. I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? But I prefer a little more up to here than kind of like this diagonal jog over. I think that'll look more cool. I like those angles instead of everything being just, like right angles. We come down to about 25, 26. Let's make it about 25 to 26 long. And I'm saying about because right now, I'm just gonna base it off kind of the length of these rods I have and where it's gonna kind of naturally get me there. I don't want the bend to be right at the end of a rod. I want the bend to be somewhere in the middle so I have room to work that rod and do the bend. We could, I'm sure, go through and print off another like angled curved bracket that would connect them and do that. That might honestly be simpler, but I want to start practicing bending the metal a little bit and get familiar with that. I think that's going to be more fun. Like creating this bend worked out pretty nice. I want to try to do more of that. Getting consistent bends, that's going to be the tricky part. But here we go. All right, so 25. And how long are these rods in? I'm at 24 right there. And that puts me at an end, not in the middle. So that's not good. But what if we use a couple of these longer rods then? And again, everything I've been buying is up on my bill of materials Google sheet where I'm tracking everything I bought. So all of these are going to be in there too. All right, 31 right there. That's almost the full length of what I need right there. Between a short piece and a long piece brings me pretty much down to where I need to go. Okay. But again, I don't want it to be straight, so I'm going to try to do a bend right about here. But then I also want a circle at the end. All right, so how big of a circle, how big of a loop do you make there at the end, that curve, when you're like ending a wireform down by the inlaying guides, etc., right? Well, a ball, if you remember, is right about 27 millimeters, 26.9. So we want a little bit of clearance on each side. Inner diameter should be about 30 millimeters, okay? Give or take maybe a millimeter or two. This bend, actually, I did beforehand, is a little wide. It's like at 32. But where'd I come up with 30? Well, you want, 1.5 millimeters or so clearance on each side for the ball to kind of wobble through. And then honestly, I looked at my Simpsons pinball party and took the diameter of those wireforms, 30 millimeters inner diameter, okay? So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna go through and do some bends. So you gotta find something that's about 30 millimeters in diameter that you can wrap these around. We try to use our bender. About the tightest it gets is about 32, is about the best I could get out of it. I like to find something a little bit tighter, just so things don't look, fat, clunky. I want them to look nice and crisp and like they fit exactly these lanes. So I want to try to find something that's about 30. So let's see what we can find. All right, let's go on a tour. I'll show you what I found. All right, so I came over here by all my tools. I figured one of these has to be right around 30 millimeters, right? Well, these are all just a little too small, but guess what is almost exactly 30 millimeters? This conduit I have here for my solar panels, this 1-inch conduit, 29.5. That's gonna work. And it's got just enough of a space behind it. I can slide the wires behind. It's anchored to the wall, wrap right around it. Anyway, find whatever works for you. That's what I'm gonna use, I think, right now. That looks big. That looks tighter. Let's measure it. 38. That did not give me the results I wanted. It ended up being like 38 millimeters the way I was wrapping that and unwrapping that. So, maybe we have to start with a much smaller diameter one. Well, I also happen to have some 1/2-inch conduit for another chunk of electrical running over to the hot tub. That's more promising. Almost looks too tight though. Over at about 25. Just below 25. That's a little too tight for what I want. I also just have some of this 1-inch dowel. We can see what we can do with that. It goes right between 35 and 36. And none of these are going to give me super consistent results either. I've gone through one piece of wire messing with this. I kind of feel like the roller that got me right around 32 that I was using is going to be more precise for me. All right, so those of you who've done this before, leave comments. What's your secret? What's your way of getting consistent bends in the Wireform? Because that's what we need. We need something that's going to be consistent, so we can have. It's not just going to be a single one of these, right? We need to have a bottom level. We need to make sure these curves are matching. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go back to my little roller bender and see what I can get out of that. But yeah, I'll be anxious to see what you guys can share as far as the tips and tricks you guys have for how you've been doing it better. I know several of you have gone and already done this ahead of time, so share your knowledge. Let us know the best way to do this. Back to my roller, because that gave me the best bend that I've had so far. So we want this bend here, okay? And we want this to end right about here. The ball's gonna come down, come through here, it'll catch it on this side in case it's going fast. I don't need this one to extend all the way around, okay? But what I do need is for this piece to come around the loop and then to follow all the way up to here and over into here some, okay? And connect up here. So we've got a longer piece. I'm gonna try to go through and estimate the length that I need here, all right? Now that's mostly straight, we can go through and figure out about where we need that to start, where we want that first bend to be to start, okay? So we want that bend to start right about here at this post, and then we're gonna go about the width of that post, okay? That's gonna come back around to here, just using my finger to hold it all in place. And then, yep, same thing, right about where my finger's at, just past this post, is where we want this to then have that angle back up to here. Okay, about there now. So we're going to use about this whole thing. I think we got lucky. I think this length is going to be almost the exact length for what we need for this one little piece right here. And this is the top piece, all right? The top and the side rails. It's the side of the rails. All right, nice and clean. And that got us at right about, we were right at about 29.5. That's gonna go right there, okay? We'll bend this one up to catch the ball, and then this one's gotta come up also now, that we talked about, all right? All right, look at that, that's almost perfect. All right, here we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's find out. I don't know if you can see that, but it sounded amazing. All right, we're back, and we got a much fatter bracket now. That should work better, so let's try it out. All right, we'll put the ramp back together, we'll take it down, we'll do a little more play testing. All right, I want to take just a minute and talk about a few of the things I've been tweaking since I turned off my camera last and catch it back up. So, apologize I had it off. But so, I took this piece downstairs, this was the bottom section of that Wireform, right, along the play field. And a couple of things I want to talk about here that I'm noticing as I'm doing this over and over. So, one of the things that I haven't gotten to quite yet, I'm going to try to work on right now. When you have the end of a Wireform like this, the ball's coming down, having just the loop here on the top isn't good enough. And what you'll see is when you go through and play test this, the ball will come down. There's just too big of a gap here for the ball. The ball will come down, gravity will take it, and it'll just shoot right down this really fast, hit your playfield hard, bounce, and on mine is bouncing up and over those in-lane return guides down by the flippers. It bounces right over those guides and off, and you can't play. So the ball, if the ball gets going fast enough, it'll come down, just go right through. Now you can think, okay, just like shorten this up, bring this back closer to these, right? And that'll help a little bit because the ball will come and kind of hit that and drop. But still, there's too many times the ball, gravity hits too fast. It'll just drop straight down at an angle through here. And you need to be able to have something come down and basically kind of like stop the ball and drop it cleanly, just to make sure you're getting consistent drops. Otherwise, the ball can bounce and ricochet and go places you don't want it to go. So, like if you look on some of the other ones, like on my Simpsons Pinball Party and stuff, it'll come down here, it has this main loop, but there's also another circle that's just like welded on right at the end of these points right here. So there's two of these. So you have an upper bracket and then also you have protection right about here. Think about like the plastic ramp returns, right? They come all the way down and they're like solid right at the end, right? They just have a hole going through, but so you have things all around all sides of the ball. So when it comes down, it's only going to go down one place. You want to make sure the exit from your Wireform is consistent, I guess is what I'm getting to, right? We want a consistent exit. And mine right now is not as consistent as I want it to be because there's too much room here and gap, and it's a long Wireform. So the ball gets going down, it can come pretty fast and bounce over my lanes. Anyway, so I'm going to do a couple things. Was also doing a lot of bending on my vise over here, so I ended up doing a lot of the bending to get these bends exactly how I wanted them. It turned out pretty nice and uniform. Just by using the vise. I got some plastic teeth protectors in there so it doesn't scratch up the metal. Again, this is not the final thing, but still, right? We don't want to scratch stuff. Yeah, so I've got to rebend a piece here. This bend, as you can tell, is a little bit out of whack. We're going to fix that one, get that lined up a little bit better. And then I'm going to play around and see what I can do to get some sort of another little circle here at the end. I mean, I could just 3D print like another piece. It kind of like hangs down from here, right, and does that and protects the ball, but I'd rather just have some nice metal if I can. It looks prettier. Like 3D printed pieces are nice, but I prefer to use them just where necessary and not just have them like all over the place. They're fat, and you don't want to interrupt just the nice, clean, open wires of the Wireform as much as you can. You want to keep it nice and open, right? At least I do. I think that looks nicer. Okay, so that's what we're going to play around with here for a little bit. Not perfect, but pretty good. I like what we're seeing. looking pretty good. Again, for being done by hand. Definitely need some better process to do this like way more precise. For now, I think it's gonna work. There we go. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's far from perfect by any means, but it's working pretty good. So yeah, I'm pleased with it. All right. We'll continue to iterate. There's a lot more things we gotta get moving through here, but next is gonna be the diverter back here. That'll be fun. All right, catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.